Right now, I'm going into podcast mode where I'm getting back into doing it and want to continue to, bring some inspiration to the generation that's coming up, and also use this platform as a way to help influence people to get into the sports industry, go to school to study sport management, or really any sports related major, as there's plenty of opportunities out there. I figured with the experience I've been able to gain over the years and throughout my college experience, I could be able to pass that on to the listeners that will be a part of the OFP family. So with that being said, I want to start off tonight's show with just going over something that's been very relevant that's currently happening in the sports world. And as we all know, we are in the middle of watching the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. And I know this past weekend I've been able to finally have some downtime to be able to catch some of the matches, and I've just been very impressed with what I've been seeing as far as the matches. I mean, a lot of surprises, a lot of close games, and even just a lot of things that a lot of people weren't expecting out of this World Cup. And I know for a lot we weren't expecting a World Cup like this. I mean, it's unusual to have a World Cup in the middle of the winter. But, due to certain circumstances and, of course, Qatar getting their bid, which was controversial, but I won't get into details about that. But just understanding what people were, expecting from this World Cup. I mean, there's been plenty of headlines that have been raised some question marks in regards to the legitimacy and just the atmosphere of the World Cup overall. But the biggest headline that was announced a few days before the tournament even started was the ban on beer sales at the World Cup. So this is an alcohol-free World Cup, which was very unusual, especially with Budweiser being the official beer supplier for the World Cup for this year and also for 2026 when the World Cup will take place in North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico included. And it's been said that Budweiser paid $75 million up front to FIFA to be the official beer supplier. But when you're a beer company and you can't sell beer in the stadiums, what other options do you have? So the other option that was put into place for Budweiser was to sell non-alcoholic beer. So Budweiser Zero is I guess you could say, the official drink of the World Cup because, that's really the only kind of beer that they can sell. But that was really off of the basis of Qatar having a no public drinking law in place. And also, if you're seen intoxicated in public, you get a prison sentence. So, we understand that the laws over there are pretty strict. And I know a lot of people weren't really looking forward to doing that. And, of course, with Qatar being the way that Qatar is, you just have to oblige by the laws. And I know a lot of people have been talking about Qatar's they've done this to build the stadiums, or they bribed FIFA into just getting the hosting bid that they wanted, and now you can't even buy a beer when you go to the games, and the fans are complaining about it. But I know it may seem very dire of how the expectations of the fan perspective going to Qatar. But I also really have to you also kind of really have to go back and understand that Qatar is not going to change their laws for the sake of them hosting the World Cup. I mean, I know it may sound a little bit insensitive for me to say that, but we also have to understand that if you're gonna be on somebody's turf, you have to respect their turf. And I know what they do in Qatar is something that we may not perceive or do here in the United States. I mean, we're a little bit more lenient, but Qatar is a little bit more stricter with certain subjects. When it comes to beer, I mean, you just kind of have to respect it. And I know Budweiser, as far as just the business, looking at it from a business perspective, Budweiser is looking to get $47.4 million deducted for the 2026 World Cup in the next 4 years from the next World Cup, which is understandable because their plans were hopefully to sell beer at the stadiums. And, there's a lot of money to be made in that regard, especially with how many people turn out to watch the World Cup matches. And, it's understandable of that, Qatar is still being strict with their laws and they're still not, obliging by what the public population may say. But, it's just how it is, and unfortunately. As far as just the supplying beer to the fans, I mean, really the best you can do if you're Budweiser is just to be able to do what you can, and Bud Zero, that's the move to go. But it's been very interesting, though. I mean, I know this is the first time where I've been able to have a chance to watch some of the games, and I've noticed that a lot of these games are, kind of like evenly balanced, and there's been even some surprises. And I just believe that the World Cup is it has more magnitude than a lot of people may think. And I know if you're the casual soccer fan, you probably look at the World Cup as something that you're definitely going to be tuned into, and you may not keep up with, say, like the club matches when it's league play. Say if you're a fan of the Premier League or a fan of MLS or a fan of La Liga or the Bundesliga, you probably don't have much of a connection with the certain clubs if you're the casual fan, but you'll have a connection with the national teams. And I know the U.S. national team, especially with that match that they had the other day with England, it was almost like a cultural event. And, just seeing these matchups when they're with the teams that were grouped and that made it to Qatar. And, I mean, yeah, people will get excited about seeing, how each country equates with the talent of football that they have, football, like using, a proper term. And, just being able to experience something that they only get to see for 4 years. And I know this may be a hot take when I say this, but I feel like for a player, their contributions to the national team is a lot more important than, say, the contributions that they made to a club team. And I say this when I think about players like Pele, Diego Maradona, Lionel Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Like those guys, even like back in the day, Pele wasn't well known for what he did at Santos, which, if you ask a casual fan if they've ever heard of Santos, they probably don't know where that club is. Mind you, it's the club that Pele played most of his career in Brazil. They play in Brazil's top flight. But nobody's going to remember the success that Pele had at Santos. I mean, I could tell you that he scored 617 goals for the club, but nobody's going to remember that. All they will remember is the achievements they had with Brazil's national team, the World Cups that he was able to win with them. And the same could be said about Diego Maradona. Like, not a lot of people are going to bring up Diego Maradona's accomplishments at Napoli and, when he played over in Italy compared to the accomplishments they had when he playing for the Argentinian national team. I mean, you could go back and look at, the most memorable moments in soccer. Most of them are highlights of players competing in the World Cup, and the star players. Even with Messi, I mean, Messi's career has been in the decline with him playing at Paris Saint-Germain, and even at times, yeah, like some people may remember the accomplishments they had at Barcelona, but most importantly, with the state of this World Cup, knowing that this is his last one, there's a lot more magnitude that rides on him trying to win it all for Argentina. Something that has been elated many times throughout his career of just missing that chance to raise that World Cup trophy, which is why I believe the World Cup is very important in a lot of aspects in regards to just understanding that there's a lot more on the line. There's a lot more focus when it comes to the star talents, when it comes to the promotion of it, when it comes to the reputability of the teams. And this may when this all ends, this is probably going to go down as one of the most controversial World Cups to ever take place, just because of how different it was. I mean, we're having we literally had the World Cup matches on Thanksgiving. I mean, how often can we say that we were able to get the combination of the NFL, college basketball, the NBA, and the World Cup all on the same holiday? I mean, it's strange, and it just goes to show that if it works, it works.